October is National Chili Month, so I always love to have some sort of a bread to dunk in that soup and chili. And sometimes you don't feel like running out to, go get a loaf of bread. So this is a quickie that you can make at home. You probably already have most of the ingredients, or all the ingredients in this case, right in your pantry already. It's a quick, easy beer bread. You don't need to let it rise. And this one is kind of fun because it's got beer, bacon, and cheese in it. So how bad could that be, right? So we're going to start out with 3 cups of flour. And then I've got 3 tablespoons of sugar. Don't worry, this is not going to be a sweet bread, but the sugar is just going to help with the flavor and help make it do its thing. And then 3 teaspoons, or Ann informed me that that's 1 tablespoon of baking powder. So I'm going to whisk that together. These days you don't have to sift. A lot of my chef friends say, that's just one more thing, but if you use a whisk, that'll combine it really well and get it going. And then we're going to do a little bit of salt and pepper too. This is more of a savory bread with the bacon and the cheese going on. Speaking of the bacon, this stuff is the greatest stuff ever invented. Sure, on Sundays, if I've got the time and I want to do the real stuff, I mean, this is the real stuff, but it's just a shorter, kind of cheater way to make it. Comes in a box like this, and I love bacon, but it can be kind of a hassle to make. So if I'm crumbling it on salads or I'm putting it in a recipe, this is a great shortcut. You won't have grease all over your kitchen, and it's done in minutes. Thank you, Ann. They used to package it a little bit differently, but I always try and keep a box of this or a couple boxes of this in my pantry. You don't need to refrigerate it until it's open, so it can sit in your pantry too. So basically I take a couple paper towels, and this is relatively new. I think it came on the market about a year or so ago, and it's really taken off because it is real bacon. I don't really like using, I don't at all, and I never use those kind of artificial bacon bits. Not a big fan of those. So you just kind of put it on a paper towel, and then I like to put a paper towel on top of it too so that it doesn't spatter all over the microwave. Thank you. You're welcome. Ann is thanking me. And then depends on how crispy you like it, 35 seconds or so. And it's already pre-cooked, so it's just going to bring it back to life and crisp it up a little bit. And it's best invention ever. Why didn't I come up with that? It really is great. Tastes great. Okay, back to our beer bread. So I've got my 3 cups of flour, my 3 tablespoons of sugar, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and a little bit of salt and pepper. And now I'm going to add some beer. I don't want to use a real dark beer. I thought Honey Weiss would be a great beer. So I'm just going to add my beer, and normally that's something we have on hand as well. Actually, I use a beer in a lot of recipes. It really does add some great flavor. So at this point, I'm actually going to not use the whisk, and I'm going to fold this together. Looking for my loaf pan, Ann. It should be kind of lumpy. Whoops. So it doesn't have to be real smooth. It's a lumpy batter, and it comes together very, very quick and easily. Now, as for the cheese, the recipe calls for about 4 ounces of cheese. I don't really measure. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. I'm going to chunk some up so it'll actually keep its, character in there. You'll really know it's cheese bread. It is the most wonderful. We love them. Springside cheese, locally fresh-made cheese, made in the Oconto area. Been to the cheese plant. It's fantastic. They do bunches of different cheddars and Colbys and flavors. They actually do a beer cheese and a bacon cheese, and if you like spicy cheese, it's really a neat place to go visit the plant and get your cheese there. They also have a store. They ship all over the country, but we love, love, love their cheese. It is absolutely delicious. So I'm going to put some chunks of cheese in, and then I'm also going to use a box grater, and grate some of the cheese. So this is going to be nice and cheesy, and it's going to go perfectly with this chipotle chili we're making. Okay, so that looks perfect. And now to our bacon, and I'm going to melt a little bit of butter. Bacon, butter, and butter. I know. bacon, butter, and beer, Ann said. Oh my. So you can just kind of tear up this bacon. And see that? I mean, making bacon doesn't get any easier than that. And like I said, I'm just not a big fan of the artificial bacon. So this is great. It really is the real deal. Somehow they pre-cook it so that you don't have to hassle with it, which I like. Okay, so bacon done. Butter's melted. I just want to put this into a loaf pan. Very important to spray your loaf pan, grease it well. We like to use, we actually have a baking spray that is coated with flour. This stuff rocks. So it's actually the baking, which is really good for cakes. It's already got the flour right in there. So I'm going to take my bread batter and just kind of make sure that the bacon and everything is all in there. I don't bake the, I don't have time or don't want to fuss with actually doing the whole bread that rises, but I do love bread. So this is just my answer to it. I mean, it takes 5 minutes to throw this together, and then you just throw it in the oven and let it bake. We baked it at 350. It does take a good 35 to 50 minutes to bake. So, while the soup is finishing off or the kids are doing their homework or whatever, get that in the oven. They'll be smelling it all while they're getting ready for dinner, and they're going to say, Mom, Dad, what is smelling so good? So then we drizzle the butter over the top, the melted butter. You could skip that if you wanted to. You wouldn't have to do the butter. It is going to make it golden, or you could certainly cut back on it. Even a tablespoon or so would do it. So this goes into our oven, and wait till you see this stuff. Oh, I know, makes me happy. Ann just really smiled big. We've been smelling this for the last 40 minutes or so, and it releases so easily from the pan. Let's see. Ann's nervous for me now. What did I do with my pot holders? Don't worry about it. It's going to come right out. No worries, Ann. I got this. Yeah, it's pretty. Whoop. We're going to be okay. It's pretty. It's not a real delicate bread, so it's not going to fall apart on you. But it's, yeah. How good does that look? Really super good. I am going to wait just a few minutes to slice it up, but this is killer, and it's perfect with any of those fall soups or stews. And just need a quick side dish in a pinch. This could be your go-to. You can vary up the cheeses. You could do Swiss cheese and bacon. You could do a dill Swiss, so shredded Swiss cheese, maybe some chunks of Swiss cheese, and then some dried dill weed would be fantastic. Or you could leave it all out and just do straight up beer bread and serve it with some butter. So this is more of a method, and if you follow that basic recipe, then you can kind of add in some other stuff that you want and have fun with it. And we'll put the recipe on our website.